So today I'm going to be talking to you about the drench and dry method. This is the only method I've used this year and it's working really well for my succulents. It has been really hot in the UK, so my succulents haven't loved the extra heat that we've been having. I've got more shade netting this year. I'm struggling to water them. I'm struggling to find the right time to do so. So I'm going to show you today the method I've been using, show you how well it works with some really good before and after videos and photos, so you can really see the kind of positives it has on the plant. And obviously overwatering succulents is the biggest killer of them. So it's really important not to overwater them, which means sometimes you might give them a little drip here and a drip there, and that is not suitable for succulents. They do not like to sit in any dampness. They like to completely dry out in between. It helps the root system grow really nice and strong, and it also makes the plant more compact because it's getting the nutrients it needs, and then in between it's allowing itself to dry out, which is an absolute necessity for any succulent. And when I'm talking about succulents on my channel, I call them succulents, but the main things I have, or species I have, are Echeveria. Obviously there are lots of side ones like Patchiveria, Graptiveria, and different ones, and that is my kind of preferred. That's what I have, and that's what you can see in the greenhouse. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So if this is of interest, please keep watching, and yeah, let's get into it. So I'll just show you some examples of some succulents which are so thirsty. Like I mentioned, I'm struggling to find the right time to water the succulents because it's been over 30 in here every day for I don't know how long now. It seems to be causing the succulents to cook and kind of then lead to rot. So I've had about 10 rot this year, which is really annoying because they haven't had that much water or that many watering drenches. It's just that when they are being watered, the soil is really heating up and it's making it really humid, and the roots do not like that humidity. What they need is obviously to take the moisture from the soil and dry out quickly, but I think because of the heat it's causing extra issues. So what I'm doing is watering them completely and then leaving them outside for a few days in the shade as well, so they're not obviously being cooked in the sun. And they seem to absolutely love that. Since I've been doing that method with this heat, they've worked really well. So it's probably been well over a month since I've done that, so there's some which are begging me for a drink. But obviously don't forget the succulents can survive without water for really long durations, so it's not a bad thing to let them struggle that little bit longer. Obviously they won't grow as quickly, and they will look not as good as they should or usually do, but it's fine. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to harm them. See, the word succulent means that they keep water in the leaves. So anyway, let's get into it. I'll show you some plants. So this is one that I haven't watered for at least 2 months. Actually, it's a new one this year, and I haven't watered it since I've had it. So I like to take them out of the soil that I've got them in and put them in a new pot, new soil. And it's just sat there for, I'm sure it's 2 months, it could be more. And it's fine, but all of a sudden it's now thirsty. So what I do to tell if a succulent needs water is squeeze the leaves. So they retain moisture in the leaves, so when the leaves are nice and plump and firm, they are obviously full of the moisture, or the water should I say. And then I just work my way inwards and make sure that the inside ones are thirsty as well, because the bottom ones are always going to be thirsty first. That's where they get their energy from to create new roots, to create pups, and obviously to kind of just survive, basically. So I always make sure that the inner ones are quite thirsty as well before I offer a drink, because if not, I probably would overwater them, because if you just go by the lower leaves, they are more likely going to be thirsty more frequently than the plant actually needs water, if that makes sense. So that's number one. Number two is actually quite embarrassing how bad this is, but it's one that's had water more frequently this year. It's just a thin leaf plant, but when you squeeze this one, there's just nothing in there. So I would squish the leaves, but it's actually, there's nothing there, nothing at all. But it has been in bloom, so obviously that requires a lot of energy from the plant, so that might be why it's getting thirsty quicker. But this bloom has basically died off, so I'm going to remove that as well. When blooms are nice and dry, you can just, oh there we go, pull them really gently and they will just come off the plant. So that's finished. And a rumour I did hear this year is that when they bloom, obviously it takes a lot of energy from the plant to bloom, but apparently when that bloom is finished, the succulent sucks the energy back in. So I don't know if that's true, but I like it. I love blooms, so I'm not going to chop mine off anytime soon until they're ready to be chopped. So that's number two to be watered. My Avoid's Tinkerbell, again, just so thirsty. There's some dead leaves on here, so it's a good time to remove those leaves. They should just fall off really easily with a little nudge. But you can see that the leaves are all puckered, very, very thirsty. And the whole thing is, it's not just the outside, it's these ones too. So that's number 3. Strawberry ice, the same thing. You can just tell by looking at it, it's just so depleted, so squidgy. So that's the next one. And this one is the same. It's got the dead leaves at the bottom, which I'll remove in a moment, and very, very squidgy. This is probably the worst one currently. It's a very thirsty plant anyway. It's very thin leaf, very beautiful. I love the crinkly edges, but this is gasping for a drink. So it's very obvious when they need a drink. Obviously, if you're in doubt, just wait that little bit longer. That's my advice. This one has been rerooting this year, so it's needed that extra water. So it's had quite a few actually, but again, it's getting thirsty, but it has fully rooted now. If I try and pull it out, it's really rooted in the soil, so that's really good news. This is one I had chopped end of last year, I think, and it's looking very, very thirsty. I've got loads of dead leaves. I'm just knocking gravel everywhere right now. But yeah, this will make a lot of difference when it roots, and when it's watered. And the roots are actually starting to grow really nicely. Beautiful neon light. I've actually done a reel on this one recently, within the last month, and it's already thirsty again. Fanfare, very wrinkly, very thirsty. Mellow yellow, desperate for a drink. Beautiful Swan Lake. Golden Shadow, again, this is in bloom, really long bloom actually, and the leaves are very squishy. And last but not least, Debbie. There's so many I need to do, but I could make this video hours long doing this, so we'll just stick to those 15. So obviously it goes without saying that when you're using the drench and dry method, your soil needs to be bone dry in between. And as my succulents are so thirsty, that is guaranteed. But what I sometimes do is just give it a little pat just to make sure that the soil is just falling out the bottom, which usually happens. My shelves are covered in dry soil, which just falls out of the pot because obviously they are due a water. So in true reality, I'm going to show you exactly what I use, which is this big kind of plant pot. And I just use rainwater, or I also have fish tanks, so I use water that I've got from my fish tanks because it's full of nitrates, which plants love. I don't know if it's necessarily what succulents love, but it seems to work for me. So this is either rainwater or fish water, basically. Yeah, and I just fill up this pot and drench. So let's get started. So this is my potting table, and these are the ones I've chosen. Obviously this is the pot of water, and I'm literally going to drench and dry. So I put them completely under, submerge them. I let I don't like all these bits floating. I let the succulent kind of bubble, and it means obviously the water's getting into all them air pockets and things and completely saturating the roots. So if you had something which was a little bit of a fussy plant, which didn't like that much water, like Alawi, I'd probably just dunk it very quickly and just allow the water to kind of go through the soil, but maybe not drench it quite as much as this. But something like this Debbie is very, very thirsty, and she will appreciate a really good drink. So just obviously make sure it drains out the bottom. You should have a really gritty mix for your succulents anyway, which allows for that drainage. As you can see, there's really nothing draining out of there now, and it's only been a few seconds that it's been out of the water. So that is it. So we're just going to repeat that process on all the other ones as well. I'm just going to maybe remove some dead leaves, do a little health check. This is never a quick thing for me because I like to, just have a really good look at my plants, because it's always a bit hectic, isn't it? If you're doing, or if you've got a hobby like the greenhouse, I don't always have a lot of time to go in there and check things. So this is kind of a little moment of peace in life where you just go through and have a look individually at each plant and admire them, inspect them and enjoy them. So I'm just going to repeat that process on every single one. Again, you can see the water just draining out the bottom there nice and easily. This one is super thirsty. And then I think we'll just time lapse the rest. So that's it, they're all done. So they're just sitting there. Obviously there is a little bit of water just coming out the very bottom, but I will just move them away from that water so I don't suck that up as well. It's not necessary, but they've had enough. So yeah, obviously as you just saw, it's very quick. Obviously time-lapse made it even quicker, but it's just a really quick method to do, and it just ensures that the roots are getting completely soaked. You can obviously try bottom watering and things, but I just find this works really well. I'm really enjoying doing it this year as well. I think the plants respond really well, and it allows me to go longer between watering as well, which is brilliant. So yeah, we'll check back once they've plumped up. I'm probably gonna leave them outside. It's quite cloudy now, but what is the temperature in here? 25. So I'm gonna leave them outside. See, succulents love air and yeah, airflow really around them, and that really helps. So it's quite a good idea to leave them outside sometimes. So I'm probably going to add a few more to this tray because my collection does look pretty thirsty. So yeah, that's it for today. So that's them all watered. They are going to really appreciate that drink, and I'm going to do some comparison pictures or videos of them before and after, so you can really see the benefits and how different they look with that really thorough watering. It really does make a difference. So that will be in the next clip. So it's now 2 days later, and let's look at the results. I have just put them in some kind of order so they match what I've shown you first, and I cannot believe how different some of them look. So let me show you. So first up we have this red agavoids. I'm not sure if this is a Romeo or a Taurus. This is one I actually got from Tesco's, I believe. It doesn't look quite as red on camera as it is in real life. It's absolutely beautiful, but obviously I showed you before in the previous clips how squidgy the leaves were and how soft they were when you squeeze them, and they are completely firm now. There is all water back in those leaves. They've sucked up all the drink, and yeah, it looks absolutely beautiful. It doesn't look hugely different with regards to the shape or the structure of the plant. It was always quite full anyway, but obviously the leaves do look a lot different when I give them a squeeze. So that's number one. This one you will not believe until you see the before and after. This is insane. So as you can see in clip one, it's very squidgy, and now the leaves are so full, so plump. It's come back to life. It looks absolutely amazing. Yeah, it just looks like a different plant, doesn't it? Like when you squeeze them, there is still a little bit of give in some of the leaves. No, these are solid up here. So the water's obviously all gone back into the leaves. It might still be taking some of that water up because the soil hasn't completely dried out yet. I have left them outside as much as I can, but it has been raining a little bit. So when it rains, I bring them back in. But yeah, it looks like such a different plant. As does this one. This is the Agavoids Tinkerbell. And again, the leaves are so firm, and yeah, now it's got the water back in. It's kind of changed the shape of the plant, hasn't it? It's made it a lot wider and a lot bigger. Yeah, it looks so different. The strawberry ice with the beautiful edging there. Again, that was very squishy, so it's still a little bit squishy on that bottom one, firmer as you get to the middle. Wow, that one's, yeah, solid. They're very different. I wouldn't say the actual structure looks too different, but the fullness of the leaves is very different. This is my plant with no ID. Again, so different. What I would say is when you're watering as well, I did mention before, I think, that it's always a good idea to get rid of the dead leaves because everything else is nice and plump, but you don't want any moisture sitting on those dead leaves and touching the stem or the roots or anything. So I always try and get rid of the dead leaves as soon as I can, and I usually do that around the time of watering. The thirstiest plant there ever was, and she is looking good. So again, the leaves are really firm, which is quite unusual for this. There's always normally a little bit of give in this plant just because of the leaf structure and how thin they are. I'm just now chucking the leaves on the floor, which is, I'm going to regret that later. But yeah, you can see the size of it is absolutely, yeah, so different. The crinkles stand out a lot more, and the colour as well. It just looks all over a lot more healthy. I'm just chucking grit everywhere as well. Next up is the Purpusorum, the white form, and you can see it was mainly the leaves underneath that looked really wrinkly. So you can see now there's no wrinkles there. They are nice and full. The pattern stands out even more, and yeah, it looks nice and beautiful. So the Audrey Fair has not changed. It's not sucked up any of the moisture, it's not retained any in the leaves. So I'd be tempted to look at that one and just maybe take it out of the pot and have a look to see if there's any mealies in there, because sometimes if mealies are in the roots, they'll be taking a lot of the goodness, and that means that the plant can't plump up as well as it usually would. Or it might just be because it's a recent head chop and the roots aren't very mature and they're not able to take that moisture up very quickly. So it might just be that this one needs a water a little bit sooner than I would normally water the ones I've just done. But we'll have a look at that after checking out the rest of the results. I love this plant, it looks so good. It didn't look too bad before, but now the leaves are super firm, and yeah, it just looks like it's glowing like a neon light, funnily enough. I've actually finally managed to propagate this. I can never get it to leaf prop. I don't know if it's just one of those ones which doesn't like to propagate, but I head chopped it last year and I've got a pup from it which is now rooting on its own. So finally I have two, so I just get so worried with the ones that I like so much, if they die for any reason, that they won't live on. But now I have two, so I feel a little bit safer. The nice unusual fanfare, you can see the leaves were so wrinkly before, they were kind of crinkly if anything. And now, yeah, they're all plump. We've got a few dead leaves underneath. I do get a bit paranoid about this one. I had one of mine rot before, and yeah, I get a bit paranoid about watering it too often. But it has got thin leaves, so it does require that extra drink, but I just let it wait a little bit longer, which is why it was so thirsty before. But yeah, it looks beautiful. Also, when I have leaves like this at the bottom, sometimes you can just knock them off with the skewer rather than trying to get in there, because it's quite fiddly sometimes to get the dead leaves off. You can just knock them and then they sit on top, and then you can sometimes just blow them off. Or you can put them in under a, what's it called, the blower that I'd get the water off the plants with, that kind of thing. But I just find that a lot easier sometimes, so that might be a tip, or you might think I am stupid. You probably don't even recognise this plant. We couldn't even see what it looked like before, but this is the mellow yellow, and yeah, completely different. That was a little bit extreme before, how thirsty it was. I wouldn't normally let them get to that stage, but it just happened, unfortunately. But yeah, looking absolutely beautiful, and a very well-deserved drink there. I don't think I spoke too much about this one. This is my Desmetiana, if that's how you pronounce it. It reminds me of a type of canty or something. It's got that really powdery blue with the pink tips. I actually grew this from seed, and it's one that I have had rot a couple of times. Luckily I had quite a lot of success from my seeds, so I had quite a few, so I do get paranoid about watering this, but it was, as you can see, very tall. There was nothing in the leaves were pointing right up, and yeah, just completely empty of water. So it looks beautiful, and yeah, just back to its true beauty. Swan Lake, so this one hasn't plumped up as much as I would have liked. I've just removed a few dead leaves, and I can see that this looks to be like a recent head chop, so I am going to just have a look at that one as well as the Audrey Fair, just to see what's going on and just make sure it's okay, because that is normally a bit of a warning if they're not plumping up. It could be that there's something wrong, but I just like to check now, just like err on the side of caution, if that's the right saying. I always say these things wrong, so yeah, I'll just double check that and I'll show you the results in a minute. The Golden Shadow, obviously that was using a lot of energy for this lovely bloom. That is now rock solid, that is firm, and that is looking very happy. And finally, Debbie. So that was really thirsty. Again, the leaves are really firm now, and yeah, hopefully that will grow nice and big, because that is quite a young one. It's a cutting from, it's a leaf prop. It's a leaf prop from, no, I don't know if it was maybe the start of this year. It's one that grew so quickly. So yeah, that's quite a young one, so that will require more water than a more mature plant as well. So let's take a look at these two, which I was just a bit uncertain of. I wouldn't always do this. I just want to just double check, really for the video as well, but I just wonder if something's maybe wrong, or not sure. Let's just have a look. It's good to check, isn't it, and be sure. So I don't like to disturb the roots too much. And to be fair, it's not easy to get out, so maybe it is rooting quite nicely. So we have got some fresh white roots up here in different places. I can't see any signs. What is this part? No, that might be just a bit of perlite. I've tried to stop using perlite, but it seems to still be in some of my old soil and bits. Just because it looks so much like a mealy, it just makes me paranoid. But no, this is just a very fresh head chop, and it's just got some really fresh roots, so it's not able to obviously bounce back quite as quickly as a mature plant with a big full root system would. But no, it looks nice and healthy. We've got those 3 different parts of the roots there, so I'm going to repot that back and stop bullying it. And this soil obviously is this soil is obviously still very wet from being watered 2 days ago, so I am going to try and put them outside while it stopped raining to try and get that to dry out a lot quicker. So that's number 1, and Swan Lake is number 2. Like I said, I don't like to disturb them, but I've had a few recently where I've checked them, maybe not recently, but this year, and I've got mealies in the roots. So if something isn't growing or something isn't maybe plumping up like this as quickly as you'd expect, it's always good to check. It doesn't mean something's wrong, but you never know. No, I think again, it looks good. It's just very, very new roots. Got some roots growing up from different places up here. No, I can't see any mealies at all. Obviously, if in doubt, you can always spray it with the alcohol spray. No, they're all just new roots. No, I'm happy. They are good. They're just not plumping up as quickly as normal because their root system is very immature. So that is the drench and dry method. I hope that's been useful for you. I want to just add some disclaimers. So I would only really use this in the full growing season. I would never use this right at the end of the season when they're about to go dormant, because the water will probably stay around for too long and cause rotting. And in spring, when they're just waking up, I try not to drench straight away. I do offer them smaller drinks or a smaller drink to start with, just to wake up those roots and get them used to having water again before I go into the drench method. And obviously in spring, especially in the UK, it's not always really hot, so it would take a lot longer for that water to dry out compared to the 27 degrees it is now in here today. So yeah, that's a little tip. And also what I would recommend, if you like to propagate your succulents and do that by leaf prop, once you've watered them, it is the perfect time to propagate them. I try and do this as much as possible, depending on obviously what my plant looks like and the maturity of it. But if there's loads of leaves and some I can get to quite easily, I'll use that to my advantage and propagate them. And then that means that the leaves you're taking are nice and full of that moisture, and they've got lots of energy to create pups and roots. So that's something I always do after watering some of mine, and it works really well. Especially this year, I've got leaf props everywhere. And if you are newish to succulents, I would just say the biggest tip I can share with you is do not love them too much. Don't try and drip feed them every so often. If you see like a wrinkly or a kind of deflated leaf, they need to be thirsty. They need to be dry and dry for substantial amounts of time before watering them again. If you're giving them a little bit of water on top of the soil every now and then, it's going to cause the stem probably to rot, because it cannot tolerate sitting against any moisture, whether that be in the top dressing or the soil. It just doesn't work for succulents. They need to be completely dry, and then when they obviously get that moisture, they suck it all up as quickly as they can, and will need to dry out completely between waterings. That is a must. Thank you for watching today. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you've enjoyed the video, please do subscribe to my channel for any future videos, and always appreciate any likes you give the video as well. It really does help my channel. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.